Hey, my beautiful angels, it's Josie Grouse, and welcome to Soul Awakening channel. In this video, I want to answer a question about entities. If they are beings, energies, spirits, we consider entities. They can be in your space. Maybe you feel them in your body. Maybe you have ghosts or some paranormal stuff happening in your house. So let me answer these questions and also help you to understand different kinds of energies, different kinds of entities. Now, your body is a physical structure, which is kind of like a filter. You can only see things that have form, they have color, they have specific energies. But with your psychic senses, you begin to detect certain things, beings that are not visible to your physical eyes. Now, entities. Who are the entities? I wanted to simplify this for you. So, the first type of entities are ancestors, people in the bloodline, people you may not even know, but their energies are in you. Your body is the collection of DNA, your moms, your dads, your grandparents, and up to seven generations of your ancestors are kind of like the voices in your head. They're still connected. They're living in you and they're living through you. Now, you may not know this is happening, but there are certain signs that are helping you to understand, oh, wait, I have certain cravings. There's certain things that I do, and it's kind of like there's me, and in moments when I'm aware of myself, I know how I feel. But there are other times I'm like someone else's energy is emerging. Maybe cravings, like craving sugar. I just had a client and she said, Josie, I just love donuts. I'm like, donuts, really? She's like, yeah, it's Christmas time. I will be baking stuff. I will be baking cookies for my colleagues, for my family. It's always baking, baking, baking. And she has this beautiful pink shirt, and she's, like these baby cheeks, and she's this perfect example of someone who still has attachment to a lot of child entities or children who are living in the system, in the information field. And these child parts, maybe, babies who never had a chance to be born or were not welcomed in this world for whatever reason, but energetically they're still like kids, right? They're babies and they want to express their energy. So oftentimes we have connection with these unborn children of our parents or a mother, grandmother figure. So they live through us, and sometimes they're the ones who keep us on the level of inner child, not allowing us to grow up and step into more responsible grown-up roles, especially if you have a lot of children in your ancestral lines, in your bloodlines, and somehow they didn't survive, or things were difficult, or they had difficult childhood. Their parts that are still infant or playful, that child innocence, playful part may be still living around you. So just pay attention to how you feel. Sometimes these children parts are expressed through cravings, on the level of the body. Sugar, cookies, balloons, dressing up like you're a 3-year-old. That tells you that you have connection with these parts. They aren't harming you, by the way. They aren't necessarily dangerous, but they can certainly take away some of your potential in life. Okay, imagine eating sugar every day. Come on. If you're stressed and you're reaching out for chocolates and have some kind of like the soothing part that make you feel good, Now, these cravings, again, could just hint at the presence of these child parts or entities, children, little unborn children around you. So if they're not harming you, just be aware of that. And the moment when you, by the way, when you have the craving, deep craving, I just want to have sugar, I just want to have something sweet. If you wait and you let this pass, this craving, this intense desire, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, you realize, you know what? I just feel differently. I don't feel like I don't want a donut. It's funny, but I felt like I want it. So the moment that you engage with the energy of these entities, you feel cravings. But then when you say no, okay, you say no, you just wait. You wait. Then you notice, okay, cravings subside. Now that is the sign that desire wasn't really yours in this moment. Look, we are all connected. And certain things you just don't know because we're seeing with our eyes. We're not connected with our psychic senses. Most of us spend our days with our cell phone. This is our best friend these days. And we aren't even aware of what's happening in the world around us. So we all have these child parts, and oftentimes they live through us. They live through us. Unborn children, miscarriages, abortions, loss of life in generations and generations of your ancestors now. These babies have a place to be. Now, another type of entities that you may come across, environmental. As a medium, I often I'm asked, Josie, I have somebody or something in the house. Can you do a scan? Can you can you see if there's any presence there? So environmentally, there are certain spirits that dwell in that living space. Could be your house, could be your city. If you move into a certain neighborhood, you better believe there will be spirits living in that particular area. You may like them, you may not. And they may cause, some disturbance in the way that you feel. They may be a little naughty, or they may cause fear. Sometimes they feel, you may feel like exposed or vulnerable. And in certain neighborhoods, you're not safe. You know it. It's not a logical thing, but it's a feeling, right? It's a feeling. Something is here, somebody's here, there's a presence, and so on. And you may move into a house that is occupied. People may have lived there, may have died there. People have their own home, and this is their home. And if you're like, okay, this is my house now, I bought it, or I rented it, this apartment, you may find some resistance or signs of presence. Somebody's here. Now remember, you are a superior consciousness to spirit. This is your domain. You are an earth being. You are the extension of the earth. The earth lives through you. Think about it. Your body is not built out of some air, right? It's the earth materials. All of the elements of the earth make up your body. The fluids, the air, the hair, all of that, that's earth. So earth, in essence, is living here. Like on this chair, there's earth, identified as Josie Krause. And also, when you are dealing with some psychic things, psychic energies, and people in that environment, by the way, if it's a home, if it's your family home, you may be dealing with your own ancestors. Just the energy, just like your grandfather still loves to sit by the fireplace and have a moment of, just rocking in his chair, and you may still hear like some, like floors moving or something. But you are as a superior being, you have on planet Earth an upper hand, an authority to put things in their own place where they belong. So when you are filled with fear, if you, let's say, you're facing environmental entity and you're filled with fear, that gives power away to that spirit or to that entity. It could be a number of them, could be not just one. And fear on itself is the energy charger. It charges spirits' batteries. And often they figure out, okay, I can just live here and I can feed on the energy of fear every day. I mean, that's perfect. That's all I want. I mean, that's as much, as long as I get some energy here. I mean, sure, why not? So if you can overcome that fearfulness and come in terms with your own power, saying that, if somebody chooses to live here, chooses to dwell, let's say in this house, when I do psychic sessions, like spirits walk through the door, and you've seen, I have videos on here on YouTube actually filming entities. Now, this happens all the time, but here is where you need to understand that spirits are spirits. They have their own world. You are on planet Earth and you are obeying the physical laws of nature. So, in the physical realm, you have an ability to change material, to change matter. You can put furniture around if you choose to. So you give spirits, first of all, it's about elevating your energy above fear. Okay? Above fear, I'm not afraid. And also know that if I arrange my house the way I like, so if there's anything or anybody here, they will be taking my terms and agreements, right? My terms and conditions to agree on being here. So this gives you, that puts you in a power position. And this is important when you are dealing with non-physical energies. It's kind of like they're testing you and they're asking, who's the boss here? Who is the boss? So one day you are a spirit, when you release this body, then you won't be physical and you will be bothering people and your ancestors. Okay, but for now, so if this happens, this is really important for you to establish boundaries and to know that the energy is yours for sharing. If you choose to share energy, it's not going to be coming from fear. I hope this is making sense, you guys, but a lot of you were asking me specifically about psychic protection and things of that nature. So, ancestral, I just explained, that's one thing that you really need to understand, because these ancestral energies, by the way, which I forgot to mention, can appear to you as cravings for certain substances as well, right? If you had a grandfather who is, on your, you share like a last name, you actually carrying the family name, and this family has a heavy load of alcoholics, drug addicts, people who have lost their lives or crazy things, like they went insane or they were in prison, they were criminal, like a lot of these things, they're somehow energetically are just, it's kind of, they're roaming in your area. So when you feel like, okay, this is me and this is not me, so you begin to not to give in to your just sudden cravings, right? Or like having a drink every once in a while, it's fine. When you understand that this thing is driving you, these behaviors aren't just accidental. It's like, it's now there's a pattern. Now there is something happening on the level of energy. So you understand that these are the programs, these are the entities who are feeding upon my desires for substances. Many years ago, when I just started doing psychic and mediumship sessions, I would be invited like on like birthday parties or like events happening, and they would be so excited to have like a psychic medium there, and I would do readings. And sometimes they would invite me to like a restaurant, a birthday party at the restaurant, or a club where you have people who are drinking. And I did it a few times and I learned my lesson so much. I'm like, never again. I'll open up my psychic channels in the place that has, the drunk people and alcohol, because the price to pay was enormous with my health. It's like, it's not worth it. So, and I would, I would, once I had my channels open in these areas, like you could see them just walking. They are so attracted, these entities, to clubs, to places where there's a lot of alcohol and drinking, a lot of sexual energy, and it's all like raw, um, kind of what's happening like in a nightclub, for example. That's you can see that partially the people who are in there, they aren't even themselves. They're just being pulled like puppets on the strings a lot of the times. Sorry to be a party pooper for you, for those who like parties and nightclubs, but it's true. So cravings, yeah. Understanding what is your craving and what isn't. And understand if you're really being triggered and there's sudden craving, all you have to do is just pause. Don't give in right away. Don't go and get a glass of wine. Just pause and see if that's something you want. Because if it does come from these energies, the moment you pause and you retract and you say, what? No, then it happens that, the cravings just disappear. And you're like, wow, holy moly, this is unbelievable. Okay. Next thing I wanted to share with you about entities, sex. So sexual energy, it's probably a topic that requires a deeper understanding of what sexual energy is. An orgasm is the energy that it's like electric station of power, that sort of thing that happens when a lot of entities are actually feeding on sexual energies and sexual, exchange of energies, during sex. And as I said, it's a deep topic, but just to be aware that sexual explosion, right? Orgasm produces tons and tons of energy. The name of the game, the currency of the spirit world or the entities, is energy. Here we have money to exchange things, to pay for things. Their name of the game is energy. And sexual is the easiest and the most profoundly useful and powerful energy for the entities. Okay? Because we have this limbic brain that is all about reproduction, and it's always easier to manipulate on the level of sexual energy. So the spiritual path, when you really taking care of yourself energetically, the first thing you notice is that your urges, your soul like desires, become more controlled. It's like you begin to really take control over your sexuality. And there's a porn addiction that all has to do with entities. Okay. I know. Tough. Is this a tough one for you? Is this a tough one? Okay, but here's something important for you to understand. If you can master your own sexuality and sexual energy, you will find your life improves on all levels, in all dimensions. Okay, compulsive things that is not you doing. There is a whole lot of energies that are feeding on the explosion of the orgasm. Okay, if you guys want me to talk about it, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll make a special video, and we can talk about it. All right. And another types of energies that you will find, again, there are psychic things that existed before you were even born. They aren't personal, okay? They don't go after you specifically. They just go after energy. And if your defenses are low, if your energy is low today, whatever, I mean, you didn't get enough sleep, you worked 3 shifts, or you just, you take medications, whatever, they make you drowsy. So now it's almost like you are now more vulnerable, or you at least have more opportunities to come across these entities. But this is all about you being conscious, right? You're being consciously aware of what's happening with your energy. You're not just leaving this to chance. And you do take care of yourself. The spiritual path is not that you just sit in the lotus position and every day, right? This is you becoming more aware of what's going on in the world around you. You're not impulsively reacting. You aren't giving away your energy. You are more conscious. You're healthier in your responding to life's situations, no matter what they are, no matter who they are. Emotions, everything emotional is often triggered for the sake of energy. If you find yourself dealing sometimes with anger, you can just yell at your kids for no reason. You're just like, all of a sudden, just have this moment and you can't control yourself, and you give your kids the time of your life. It's like, I mean, these emotional responses, and then later you feel like empty. You feel like empty. I feel like drained. My body is empty. My mind is like, and there's huge guilt if there's any of that coming. So understand there's also other things involved. So triggering these emotions comes with the desire for energy. Anger, right? If I'm angry, if I'm judgmental, right? If I'm here judging everybody, that's all I do all day, every day. Where does this energy go? Who's consuming this energy? Because it does produce enormous amounts of energy. Some people don't even feel alive if they don't judge anything. What's the point of being alive if you can't criticize the government and whatever? So these aren't human things. It's all manipulation of energy. And the spiritual path for everyone, and I'm just like you, I'm on this path, is to become more aware of who you are and who you're not. And that gives you enormous power in life, because you can't be the puppet on the strings. Most of these energies are your ancestors, let me remind you. Or you can really take power in your own hands and live the life that you're here to live. And don't let their unexpressed potential, their dreams, their desires now messing up your life at any point. I hope this was of service to you guys. Let me know in the comments if this topic was interesting, and if you would like some more videos like that. Let me know. Much love. We'll talk again in the next video.